happy 4th of July to those that celebrate it. I hope that everybody's staying productive. Jamahal Hill fought in late June. I know I'm late to the party, but there's never a rest day to trash this dude and his hypocrisy and excuses and delusions. On UFC Baku, this guy had the opportunity to get back on track. He had the opportunity to defeat Khalil Roundtree and get back in title contentions. This is a huge opportunity in his career, and he blew it. Not only did he take an L, but his performance was just straight trash, underwhelming. He's done. This guy is done. So with that being said, I wanted to go back to his pre-fight conference interview where he came off as a schmuck, cocky, arrogant, uninterested. I'm gonna break it down question by question, his response and what I think about this clown. So in his first question, he is asked a general question: how do you see Baku? What's your experience like upon arriving? And he mentions, oh, it was great, a lot of sightseeing, and my fans, a lot of people noticed me. Bullshit. Jamahal Hill has no fans. By the same guy, he's asked, what does he expect in this fight? And he says, hey, I expect Khalil Roundtree to come out strong, and that he just fell short in his last fight. Again, bullshit. You didn't just fall short, bro. You got knocked out, you got dominated, you got destroyed, you took a beating, you fell, you plummeted into a fucking Stephen King well from 1922 story, and you never came back out of it. Same guy asked, where does this victory, when he wins, or if he wins, put him? And he's well aware, he's conscious that he has 2 back-to-back losses, and that pretty much one win will not get him in that title contention. He's then asked a 2-question part, which starts off with, what did you train for in this fight? And his response is, well, I train on everything. I stay well-rounded, that way I can pretty much take the fight anywhere it goes. I can be ready for those positions. Well, what a way to show that off. Second part to this question is his reaction to the Pereira versus Khalil Roundtree. The infamous, where he's freaking yawning, all awkward. And his response was actually kind of surprising. He said, oh, no, I wasn't bored of the fight. It's what was expected. Well, I'm glad that he admits it wasn't a boring fight, because his was way too fast to a point where, yeah, we all fucking had to fall asleep early, because you got slept in about a minute or 2. While Khalil Roundtree put up a fucking war, pretty much a fight of the year contender against Pereira. He's asked about his flight, his travel, and he said great. He got to watch a show, an interesting show all the way, and that he had to throw it in there. Hey, I flew in first class. Fucking congrats. Here's one of the more interesting responses. He is asked about how will his last 2 losses against Alex and Prochaska affect his performance. And before he even answers it, he acts like he got asked to solve some the square root to some astronomical question. He had to kind of, wait, what? I don't understand. Then once 1 + 1 = 2 clicks in his head, he says that he pretty much dismisses the question and says that's some dorky question that is asked online. And I'm puzzled by this for a couple of reasons. One, a totally legit question seemed to have triggered him, and he's gonna dismiss it as a dorky question. Second is, what did he mean by saying that's an online question? The fuck? these people will ask that question in your face and you know, behind the keyboard, and it's not something that's far-fetched. It's just so weird how Jamal tries to, you know, one-up you by thinking, you know, I'm too sophisticated for this. And as mentioned, he was puzzled as to how his previous losses will affect his performance. Well, no shit, we saw it. Coming back from the injury against Jiri, I'm sorry, not Jiri, but Alex, he was already gun-shy. That was not the normal Jamahal Hill we know nowadays. And I'm not trying to make an excuse for him. And then on the Jiri fight, he was stumped by Jiri's movement. Things that really fucked up his mentality. And look how he performed against Khalil. So, hey, in hindsight, that was a logical, legit question. He's then asked about the jet lag. If he's worried about any kind of time difference and jet lag, which he responds pretty assuredly, like, nah, you know, I've been here for like 6 days. I'm used to the, you know, traveling to different time zones. And he references that, you know, he fights in the United States from one end and then travels to the next end, so that's not a problem. And good. I'm glad that he buried himself there, because he can't use that excuse now. He's asked about his and Khalil Roundtree's last fight, how both of them were pretty violent and bloody. Khalil had mentioned that he doesn't expect that. He doesn't expect to be bleeding in this fight. And Jamal, of course, understandably says, hey, well, when I open him up, you know, if that's what he thinks, let him think what he thinks. But when I open him up, let's see how he reacts. Well, once again, in hindsight, it didn't turn out too well for you, did it? And then he retracts and is a hypocrite by saying that Khalil gets hit more than what he dishes out, right? And then references Johnny Walker without saying his name, saying, hey, look at a previous opponent. I knocked this dude out while he got knocked out by that dude. That's MMA math. And doesn't he always say, and in this very interview early on mentioned, that's a different fight, you know, his previous past fights, that's a different fight, that's nothing to do with me. Or the state of mind that he's in now. So even if he lost previously, that's nothing to do with what I'm about to do now. Yet again, that MMA thinking does not apply to him, but it can apply to others. He also mentions how Khalil Roundtree and his trash talking, which I don't even see it as trash talk, it's just him creating beef out of nowhere. So he's beefing with himself. Weirdo. But isn't he the guy that did that to Pereira? Pereira never says anything to his opponents. He's very respectful, but he was the one over here saying, hey, you're a fake champ. You know, you conquered the belt from a vacant spot, even though that's exactly what he did with Teixeira. I mean, the guy is just absolutely hypocritical, delusional, and you know what? He's hateful. He's one of those guys that doesn't congratulate, he hates on your success. Not only does he not have fans, but I highly, highly doubt he has any friends. And honestly, with that kind of mentality, a hater instead of a congratulator, who would want to be his friend? A reporter decides to ask him about the WWE presence of him and Khalil a while back, and if they had any, you know, at a WWE event, that they were both seen at the same WWE event, and if there was any interaction between both of them. Jamahal Hill pretty much big brothers him, like, hey, well, I didn't even know who he was. I was champ, he wasn't even ranked. And then quick, you know, seconds later, kind of changes it. He says, oh, well, I think we were scheduled to fight. Okay, so do you know this guy? Or do you not know at all who he is? Come on, get it together. Ankalaev question comes about if anybody has approached him about maybe a matchup. And he repeats himself, hey, well, I lost my last 2 fights. I'm not worried about anything else right now. I'm far away from a title shot right now. So it indicates, again, that at least he's aware, yes, he has a long journey to go before he can even become a contender. Followed up is a question about Pereira and his last performances, which Jamal dismisses. Seems to have an issue with, saying, hey, Don't ask me about other fighters. You got to go talk to them about their performances. Yet, that's exactly what he does in his YouTube channel. And in this very press conference, he has already done it. Like I mentioned, but all of a sudden he's bothered. Hey, don't talk to him about his performances. You got to talk to him about it. That's not my job. Here's the interesting question that produced an egotistical response. Contrary to what he was saying earlier in this very press conference, he's asked about his striking differential, that he outlands his opponents more than they land on him in the light heavyweight division. And he very egotistically says, hey, stats are stats. They tell the story. You know, that tells you something about me and my ability. But wait, weren't you the guy that just said, hey, the past doesn't matter because this fight is now? Where's that same energy? Oh, but to stroke your ego, the past fights do matter, right? The stats that are convenient for you, that matters. Now, let's fast forward to post-fight. And he finally comes out not too long ago on his personal YouTube channel to pretty much give us his excuses. And he emphasizes these are not excuses. He lost. But yet, there's always a reason as to why someone loses. So keep in mind, pre-fight in this press conference, no jet lag. He trained everywhere because he's ready to take it anywhere the fight goes. It's not just about striking, and that he prepared himself to pretty much do what he has to do to get this victory. I'm assuming, safely assuming here, that includes cardio, right? Because this is a main event. This is a 5-round fight. I think running, cardio, jogging, sprints has a lot to do with you being able to perform and execute your tools for all 5 rounds. So let it begin. First and foremost, he has to take time off to heal his injuries. Keep in mind, he said injuries, plural. We're assuming, what a word today, right? Because that's what we can really do with a Jamahal Hill. That the Achilles heel is one of them. But I wonder what other injuries he's suffering from. He goes as far to say he has done no jogging at all since his Achilles heel tendon injury. Well, I guess that explains his last 3 performances. Although, despite the contrary of what he's saying, that he's ready to go, he's ready to take it anywhere. He sharpened his toolbox. All of a sudden now, yeah, that's right, I do have an injury that's keeping me from training 100%. And the audacity of this man, that he doubles up on this. He starts blaming it on his natural ability, that he's always dependent on it. It's always carried him, and maybe he should start doing something than just relying on his God-given gift, which is just natural talent to fight. What I'm getting from this is that he's kind of insinuating that he doesn't train. He doesn't need to train, and it's finally biting him in the ass. I don't think any of us buy this for 1 second. If you're in the UFC in general, even if you're starting off, you're training your ass off. You're not just relying on natural talent, on explosive talent, on athletic talent. You're training. Now, that's just the beginning. Like when you're getting into the UFC, imagine being him in championship caliber fights, in contendership caliber fights. You're gonna tell me you don't train? Or that you're not training to your fullest potential or even a decent potential? I'm just gonna let my athletic, my natural gifts carry me here. No, come on, man. We don't buy that for 1 fucking second. He's had an excuse. I mean, look at the Alex Pereira fight. After talking a big game, this guy goes out there and gets knocked out silly, quick, effortlessly. And he starts the excuses. Oh, it's the ref's fault. Pereira took advantage of a pause because of a low blow. He repositioned himself. Like, if he can't do that, he wasn't completely knocked out. Early stoppage. He wasn't out at all, despite you can see clearly the videos and replays of hundreds and thousands of videos that are being made where his eyes are rolling back. His body's limp, just going up and down, up and down. Pretty much the way Conor McGregor said about Dustin Poirier, just bouncing the head off the canvas. And this guy's gonna say, I wasn't out. I wasn't out. I tripped because Pereira has stepped on my foot as he threw the left hook. Come on, man. This guy's a fucking clown. We have a guy in the rankings at light heavyweight that refuses to accept his losses, makes excuses. This guy's not gonna grow. There's nothing this guy can learn now. And every fight that goes on, and I was there against Prochaska live in LA. Now this Khalil Roundtree performance, this guy's so gun shy. He's damaged goods. This guy's he's more worried about not getting hurt in a fight than to win in a fight. I don't know what's next for Jamahal Hill. I don't know what's next for people that just refuse to accept life and what's happening to them, that refuse to adjust. There's always a reason as to why they couldn't perform. Give him somebody barely cracking in the rankings. See if he can still even uphold a fight with someone like that, right? Top 15. I don't care about Jamahal Hill anymore. I don't care about people like him in general in life that just bitch and complain and can never self-reflect and take constructive criticism.